cargo.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, today we're going to talk about 3 deck lists that I think would be pretty good going into the Galactic Championships. If you're going, I am not, but if I was going, these would be 3 decks that I personally would be looking at. I'm not saying they are the best options, but I'm gonna show you reasons why I think they'll be pretty good with some set 5 upgrades. There's a couple ways you can go about it. You know, what deck am I playing at Galactics? Are we playing a set 5 leader that we think is going to be pretty good and that can possibly spike some rounds? Are we thinking of playing older leaders with upgrades on decks that we already have some reps in? I'm going to talk about 3 decks today that you might want to consider that are getting some insane upgrades. But before we do that, guys, thanks for checking out the channel. I appreciate all the recent new subs and comments and just good vibes overall on the channel. Shout out to the Haven Games for sponsoring the video, our sponsor here at 2 to Base. If you want 10% off your SWU sealed product, go ahead and hit that link in the description to go to the Haven's website and place an order and support our local card store here in Orlando. Also, we've been getting a few new people into the community Discord of ours at 2 to Base, which you can also join us at the link in the description. We appreciate everybody coming in, throwing in decks in our deck list building forum, and just overall hanging out and chatting with us. It's been great. Alright, well, let's hop into our first list we have on the screen. No surprise here, we've talked about this one before in a previous video. I made a couple tweaks. The sideboard isn't developed. I'm kind of leaving that open, you know, to your flavor, your preference. But I don't really know what would be really good sideboard options right now. I haven't really looked that deep into it. I'm not going to Galactics, so I'm not really preparing right now for that. But if I was, I'd probably have this sideboard developed. But looking at the list, so our force package, we've got the Adi Galia, I don't know how to say her name. Just a solid turn 1 option because we are using the force base, so we definitely want to have multiple options to play turn 1 that can turn on our force token on the second turn. So we have Secret Sage, which I think is probably going to be one of the most played set 5 cards when we go into this new set. It is essentially a crafty smuggler with force. In blue, so definitely including that in here. We just know that for the most part avoids the Quinlan pings, avoids a lot of like possible turn 1 kills, like, you know, maybe you get Cloud Ridered, or just avoiding that turn 1 losing your turn 1 unit is huge here, because we want to start getting the force token going so we can use our new Grogu to use his action to heal 2 damage from a unit and deal 2 damage to another unit. Also using force token, we've got Chirrut, who's an overperformer so far in the testing. He's just almost guaranteed taking at least 2 hits, depending on how late in the game we're playing him. Early game, he's pretty much eating up most of these small units. I have thought about putting like a couple lightsabers in here to make him even stronger, but I kind of decided against that right now. The Itinerant Warrior for 3 is really good because essentially you'll get a 4/4 at a 3 cost. You're going to lose your shield if you use Han's ability to play it, but you know, at least when you play it, you can use the force to heal from your base, so you're still getting like half of the value of that card, but you're also playing it a turn earlier, so pretty huge there. Kiadi's drawing cards, so we love that. Shatterpoint is an overperformer right now. That might just be an auto include in most blue force decks. Whenever I've been able to use it, it has been back breaking for my opponent. We have Pose in here. That's a kind of a normal include. And then the new Anakin, interesting because we're not going to have like any villainy cards in our discard, but playing him for 5 seems pretty good. You can give something -3/-3, which will just help you trade up a unit at very least. So I still like Anakin, even if we're not like doing -6, -6. I think that is just a, I don't know. In certain decks it's going to work out, but obviously in this deck, no. But I still think he's a strong unit in this deck. I could be wrong. Maybe he's just doesn't belong here, but if you already have an established board and you play him, he could take out a Village Protectors. He could finish off, he could finish off a leader if you've already got damage on a leader. So I think for now, I think he's been performing well. A couple other like auto includes that are normal in this deck: Rebellious Hammerhead, Luke, Chewie, and the Crate. So no surprises there. Nothing like special with those units, but this deck is just going to be, it's going to evolve, and this iteration is probably not the best. Like I said, I try to just fill in some Force units, spice things up a little, and include what I think in set 5 is actually going to make a huge difference in this map. So, Onto Blue is still going to be really good. It's not decided yet if this Force package thing is going to really impact the game that much. I think it will. You put this up against, the Hantu Blue without these Force units, and I think this deck is heavily favored. There's just so many new interactions with this set that it's just a power level increase that we haven't seen for a few sets now. I would say even like between set 1 and 2, we haven't really seen a power creep like this, so I think this deck's going to perform pretty good. And I would feel comfortable taking this into a huge tournament like Galactics if I wasn't sure what I wanted to play. So, deck lists will be in the description so you guys can test it out and let me know. Let me know what you would add, take out. We're still developing the list, so any feedback will help me build as a player too. Next, we have, not so surprising here, I mean, Kira Data Vault's been really running the game, but with the new Vader unit being able to ambush and kill most of the time 2 units and just auto kill any leader, can you imagine if somebody like works their ass off to get the new Avar Chris leader out deployed 8-10 and then you're just like, okay, cool, Vader. I think that's going to be a meta-defining combo. Nothing else in this list is really that surprising. I mean, it pretty much has the normal stuff, It's got Timely's in here, too. Maybe Reinforcement Walker deserves to be in here. Somewhere, maybe the Relentless comes out and we mainboard the Reinforcement Walker and maybe put in 1 Relentless. I think not having Devastator in here is a little wonky. I was wondering if this would be a little faster version of Kira. I don't really think so, though. I think it's still just going to be like a control early game, late game play the bombs. I mean, outside of the Vader unit, the list isn't really that different from normal Kira. I'm not a tenured Kira player, so some people might look at this list and be like, what is this list? I just put what I think would be good with ECL, and a Long Pike is an obvious include. The new Vader unit, obviously, and I think some of the numbers on like my set 1 Vader can change. Maybe that goes down to a 2, throw a Devastator in here and just change some numbers. I kind of rushed through this, I'm not gonna lie. It's got everything you need, but really it's just about, we're really just talking about the new Vader unit being that impactful that you can literally change from Data Vault to ECL and be like, I actually think this can work now. You're able to stabilize, you're able to, you're board wiping with Vader, then like maybe next turn you barrage and you kill anything else they play next, or you just power the dark side. Which I don't even think I put power in here. That's how fast I built this deck. But yeah, I would definitely put power of the dark side in here. I don't know why I didn't include it. I think I just like jammed 3-ups of everything and just called it a day. But yeah, I would obviously throw some more powers in here, change the numbers up in the list so that way we can add in more removal, and then the list will be fine. But for the most part, this is what you want in a Kira list. Like I said, guys, let me know in the comments what you would change. This particular list was kind of rushed, but yeah. Gideon overperformer in this deck with ECL. If like we have the timers in here, so we can at least timely out the Vader unit if we don't get to ECL with it. Sometimes you just have to ECL before you get to that point. You know, 6 resources is a lot. Is sort of late to expect to swing the game like against Sabine. I know this deck relatively does great against Sabine, but I guess it does rely on this Vader unit quite a bit, as where Data Vault has more depth and, you know, options because you're playing 10 more cards. But man, the new Vader unit's going to be so good. Kira as a leader is not going to change. She's still going to have her flip turn that's going to make an impact, especially right now with all these like 4 or 5 HP units. Kira can still make an impact with her flip and barrage if it can be pulled off. So I wouldn't sleep on this deck going into Galactics. Whether you're playing Data Vault or playing Kira, I highly suggest having Timely and the new Vader in here. At least if you're playing Data Vault, you can at least jam the Timelies and put the Vaders in. Maybe you're putting in just a couple, or you go all in and do 3 of. Man, when he hits the board, it's a big problem. It almost wins you the game every time that unit's played. That's why, like, who cares if I don't even have Power of the Dark set in here? I have plenty of units to jam to kill other units. And then when Vader comes out, the game is basically over. Unless you're playing a hard control deck, you know, playing against a hard control deck that's just removing all your stuff. Not really a popular archetype right now. But yeah. I like this list. I think it's going to be solid, whether you're on Data Vault or ECL, but new Vader is going to make waves, and you're going to see him at Galactics killing multiple things, killing all the leaders that are deployed, and I think he's going to be that meta-defining card going into the rotation and just, you know, the next few sets. So keep an eye on this. Don't forget about it. Now we're going to talk about some hot sauce that I built from scratch. This list is insane. It is probably one of the most impactful set 5 lists when we talk about older leaders that get significantly better from a new set. This deck is insane. We're gonna go through every card and we're gonna really dive into this one. I'm really proud of this build because in testing I've just ran through some decks. Some decks just kind of creep in and snag the win, but if you don't deal with some of what's going on in this deck, you're going to lose the game. And we'll talk about why. So, Sheehan Flurry, we're talking about that event right now. It's probably the best yellow event in the new set. Why? Because it turns on Vader. Obviously, yes, you have to pay 7 instead of 6 to pull off, but at least you get to play Vader in the deck. Sheehan Flurry also works on pretty much everything in here. You know, I have enough force units to use it for other units as well. If we have the new Dooku unit, and we don't have the force token for whatever reason, we can Sheehan Flurry him in, so he's ambushing with the shield for 4. So we love that. What else we got? So Inferno 4, just solid card. It's between that and Onyx. Like, I have Onyx in the sideboard. Maybe that's an aggro card where we sideboard those in against aggro so we can heal up. So I've been thinking about, like, do I put Inferno 4? Do I put Onyx? So that's still in the air. I don't know yet. I think main board Inferno's fine because you really want to dig for your Sheehan Flurry. You want to dig for some of the stuff you need, like the Legacy run. We'll talk about the Legacy run in a second. Night Sister Warrior is great. When defeated, draw a card. So when defeated, you draw 2 cards. That is your turn 1 force unit play normally. If you don't draw that and you get you get Sage, then you can play the Sage. Val I put in here because I feel like I needed something to bridge into like the Vaders and Snokes and Avenger. So I put Val in here to be able to buff some of these units that are really good stats, but could be even better with 4 more XP tokens on them. So that'll be Chirrut, the new Dooku unit, and then Shinhati is just 4/2 shielded with Hidden. That card's amazing. It might be an auto include in most yellow villain decks. There's really no reason for me not to play that card. You can Sheehan Flurry her out and kill something, and then Still can't be attacked the turn that she's played, so that's huge. And she comes out with a shield, so she's sort of the same idea with the new Dooku unit. These 4 power ambushers with shields. It's like saying, like, it's like playing Forlom. You know, like, Forlom is one of the most played cards. Now I think Forlom, like, sits on the bench outside of CAD decks. Like, I don't think that card's playable anymore. Like I said, outside of a CAD deck. We have these 2 shielded units that basically do the same thing. One of them can do it for 3 if you're using Shein, or, well, I guess it's still 4 because you have to play Shein Flurry, but nonetheless, you got 4 cost ambush with a shield. You can't sleep on that. What else we got? So Power of the Dark Sides, that's obvious. We just need some removal there. Since we're trading out units, Power is actually very good. I haven't tested this deck against Vader, but I would love to, and I'll get into why I love to do that. Basically, it's all about Legacy Run. This deck is almost built around surviving until you can get the Legacy Run combo off. What it is a 5-cost ship, legendary ship, with the Republic vehicle transport tags. That doesn't matter because the only thing that matters is when defeated. So when defeated, deals 6 damage divided as you choose among enemy units. Well, how about we do 12? Because we're using Grand Admiral Thrawn as our leader. You're essentially paying 5 to set up a ridiculous overwhelming barrage. It is my form of barrage. I've had people say, like, it's too slow. I've had people say, like, what if it gets traitorous? It's a 5 cost. And people forget that because of its shitty stat line at 3/3, but when it dies, which, how do we trigger that dying? Like, I want it to die when I want it to die. How do we do that? So what you do is on your 5 resource turn, you play Legacy Run. You have to. I keep 2 in my hand. If I draw 2 Legacy Run, I don't resource the other one because I know what I'm setting up. How do I kill it? So I've actually considered putting Merciless Contest in here to make sure we can get that off without missing. But whether you're crashing it into one of their units and one of their space units, you're killing like 3. You're killing most of their board every time it dies. So like you're guaranteeing board wiping almost. I've maybe had it where like maybe 1 unit survives, but I'm able to pick his leader. I'm able to pick 2 more of their units, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. But what you do is you play it on your 5 resource turn, going into your flip turn with Thrawn. You're able to do this twice, so you could do 24 damage in a turn. If all things line up, the way it works is you pretty much, they have to have a space unit for it to work like that, where you're able to do it twice. But or if you're not doing it twice in the same turn most of the time, that's like a Fantasyland trick. But if you do it on the 5 resource turn, 6 resource turn, you play like Anakin, you can actually kill it yourself with Anakin. Which is like, people are like, why would I do that? I want to use Anakin's ability to kill one of their units. Well, we're not really going for the whole like -6 thing. We're not really using him to trade up. We're using him to kill our Legacy Run on the Thrawn flip turn so we can do 12 damage and board wipe. So you've got a Anakin now and a Thrawn and whatever other units you have that might still be alive. This happens almost every game. Because of the draw from Night Sister and the filtering from Inferno 4, we're usually able to dig down for the Legacy Run and get to it. Another way that this works insane, the way it can actually work where you're doing 24 in 1 turn is with Chimera, so that's really the only way. So 5 resource turn, you play the Legacy Run. You claim. Next turn, you play Chimera. You do 12 damage by triggering Legacy Run's ability. You flip Thrawn. Then you swing your Legacy Run into whatever ship they have. If they don't have one that can kill the Legacy Run, then boohoo, you don't get to deal 24 damage in a turn. But yeah, you can do it. I pulled it off multiple times. It's consistent. And it's definitely something to look at. I think it makes this deck insane. you're essentially playing the yellow package with Overwhelming Barrage built into it, because Legacy runs ability. Now, obviously, there's ways to avoid it. People can waylay, people can bounce a unit. But I think what makes the card interesting and actually makes it playable is the 5 cost for the unit. If it was actually cheaper, it actually would be worse. So a lot of people telling me, hey, it's too late in the game, it's too slow. This deck is all about building up to that Thrawn flip. And at 6 resources, like, if I'm doing 24 damage spread out, anything they play is dead. And it happens like that. They build their board up, I do it the first time, and then they rebuild their board, and then I do it again, which I don't think they expect. I've had most people just scoop. I've had people tell me in the chat, in Carabas online, like, that is actually insane. The reaction to it is pretty much you scoop. Unless you're playing like against another control deck that maybe, you know, after 2 turns of taking a lot of damage, they can board wipe with Super Laser Blast. But that's like the only real clean answer to what we're trying to do. So, stabilizing along the way, setting up your legacy run play, and if you don't get it off, you don't get it off, and I think you just play it fairly. You can still Sheehan Flurry out your Vader and kill multiple units. We have Snoke to stabilize and really make the game hard for our opponent. But yeah, man, top end is basically just Avenger. Still thinking about the top end here. I think Avenger's fine. I don't really think Avenger's an amazing card anymore, to be honest with you. I think if Vader Pilot, Vader Swarm is still going to be a good deck. I don't know how good Avenger is until we clear the board, but man, let me tell you something. If you've ever wanted to just annihilate these Vader Pilot decks on the 5 resource turn when you play Legacy Run, like, you just end up wiping all their unit. Like, yeah, I think it's cool. If I had to add something in here, I'd probably add in some confiscates in the sideboard or something for like against these Vader decks. I wasn't really building any of this factoring in the Vader Pilot deck, but I do still think that deck might be good. People have already sort of figured out Vader, but yeah, I think, man, this list right here, and I'm going to put, obviously, like I said, the link in the description. Play around with it. Tell me if it's really bad. Tell me if it's insane. I personally, like, my win ratio with this right now online, and that's not really validated because Carabast is just Carabast, and you can't really base a deck's success off of online testing. But man, I've been taking out some wins. People have been like, what the hell is this deck? What have you done? It's just really fun. At very least, it's very fun. If I took this to Galactics, it could probably spike a few rounds. But I don't really think it's like that competitive right now, but I don't know. It might be. Who knows? Maybe I'm underselling it. But I love the list. These 3 lists, we'll go into final thoughts here. These 3 lists, they're just something to look at. I think the first 2 with the Han and the Kira are more competitive than the Thrawn deck. The Thrawn deck is just something I've been brewing that I think, like, hey, I personally, when I go to events, I try not to play super meta. I try to play slightly off meta. It's just what I prefer. And I wanted Thrawn to work in JTL. We didn't get enough for it. But we got one unit that I think literally changes the game in the Legacy Run ship for this yellow Thrawn package. So it's not really like that hard control list that you've seen floating around. Like, I know Thort had a Thrawn yellow hard control list. It's not what we're trying to do. But anyways, guys, tell me what you think of the list. Wanted to just record a little video here today to stay on schedule. We're trying to record on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I'm a little sick right now, so Tuesday I didn't record, but Tuesdays and Thursdays are really good for recording, and then we try to fill in any other days that are just bonus recording days. So, guys, thanks for all the support. Much love on the tables for our locals out there. It's nice playing with you guys out there. Any updates coming up? I think we have, from our team, I think we have actually a handful of people going to Worlds, so I'm stoked to see what they're brewing up. I'm not sure what they're cooking. But yeah, We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and if you appreciate the content, you like the content, I would love for you guys to sub and keep watching, interact, drop a comment, tell me how some of these lists suck, tell me what would be good in these lists, tell me what I'm missing, help me become a better player, and I'll be able to continue to give you guys some good content here in the next few weeks. I appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all have a great day. See you later.